Belarus is an authoritarian state. The constitution provides for a directly elected president who is head of state and a bicameral parliament, the National Assembly, as well the All Belarus People's Assembly, a previously ad hoc body that was enshrined in the constitution through the February 2022 referendum. A prime minister appointed by the president is the nominal head of government, but power is concentrated in the presidency, both in fact and in law. Citizens were unable to choose their government through free and fair elections. Since 1994, ally Alexander Lukashenko has consolidated his rule over all institutions and undermined the rule of law through authoritarian means, including manipulated elections and arbitrary decrees. All elections and referenda after 1994, including the 2020 presidential election and February 27 constitutional referendum, were not considered free and fair. The Ministry of Internal Affairs exercises authority over police, but other bodies outside of its control, for example, the Committee for State Security, the Financial Investigations Department of the State Control Committee, the Investigation Committee, and Presidential Security Services, also exercise police functions. The President has the authority to subordinate all security bodies to the President's personal command. Lukashenko maintained effective control over security forces. There were reports that members of the security forces aggressively, intentionally, and systematically perpetuated numerous abuses to stifle political dissent and repress human rights. Significant human rights issues included credible reports of unlawful or arbitrary killings by security forces, torture or cruel, inhuman, or degrading treatment or punishment by security forces, harsh and life-threatening prison conditions, arbitrary arrest and detention, political prisoners or detainees, transnational repression against individuals in another country, serious problems with the independence of the judiciary, arbitrary or unlawful interference with privacy, punishment of family members for alleged offenses by a relative, serious abuses in a conflict related to Belarus' complicity in Russia's war against Ukraine, serious restrictions on freedom of expression and media, including violence or threats of violence against journalists, unjustified arrests or prosecutions of journalists, censorship, and the enforcement of criminal libel laws to limit expression, serious restrictions on internet freedom, substantial interference with the freedom of peaceful assembly and freedom of association, including overly restrictive laws on the organization, funding, or operation of non-governmental and civil society organizations, inability of citizens to change their government peacefully through free and fair elections, serious and unreasonable restrictions on political participation, serious government corruption, serious government restrictions on or harassment of domestic and international human rights organizations, lack of investigation of and accountability for gender-based violence, including domestic and intimate partner violence, sexual violence, and other forms of violence, trafficking in persons, crimes involving violence or threats of violence targeting lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, or intersex persons, and outlawing of independent trade unions and significant restrictions on workers' freedom of association. Authorities at all levels generally operated with impunity as directed by Lukashenko and routinely failed to take steps to prosecute or punish officials in the government or security forces.